prime time on the top game, it's a fine line. Man in the match, that's Daveye, he's the main guy, keep a close eye. Make sure you don't make no wrong play, cause I'm with Jose and Andre. When Cyrus comes to walk in, you better know that you are watching Premier League. Daveye, tell what time we on, what time we on. Time. Let me hear you say Premier League. Daveye, tell what time we on, what time we on. Time.
Hello and welcome to Premier League Primetime. Aston Villa 0, Arsenal 2, and who better to get on than Cyrus? No one else. Just to answer the question, to keep it frank. But Cyrus, over to you. Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 0. Initial thoughts on the match?
Yeah, Davey. It was a good game. You know, of course, last season it was a little. It was definitely great to get a win because last season they're pretty much the reason we didn't win the title. You know, that Ollie Watkins goal. Yeah, I think it was a great game. Are you still here? I can't see you.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Okay. I think it was a great game. You know, I was a little worried the first half. I was a little worried that, you know, we wouldn't get the result, but I think it was a great substitution by Arteta, bringing in Trossard. You know, a good goal by, you know, Martinez probably should have saved that. I bet if it was Argentina, he would have saved it. But, yeah, overall, a good game. Again, it's all about that defense. Our defense is, I think, probably the best in the league, in my opinion. Those two center backs and then fullbacks, you know, that upgrade with Timber. And, you know, he's just getting to the stride of things as well. You know, coming off a bad injury, and then we have California on the bench, which is awesome too. So, yeah, it's like he can't even get minutes right now. That's how good our defense is. But yeah, I thought it was a great game.
No, and I said it in the season opener, I believe. As good as Man City is, I still think Arsenal is the best defense in the league, regardless. And I'm going to remain consistent from where I said it. And Arsenal to get it done at the end of the day. And Aston Villa is a difficult side, but you know they left it late, but you know better late than never. And if you're looking to win the title against and chase Man City down for the title, you know that's the extent that you're going to have to go sometimes. But moving forward, you know, looking at you know how Arsenal have to really you know grind down Aston Villa to you know even open the scoring. Do you think that's going to be kind of an issue for Arsenal in the future, or do you think that they've now, you know, more or less have told themselves if they're going to win this league title that, you know, they're going to have to do this kind of thing?
Yeah, you know, I think it's true. Like probably, you know, the thing to worry about the most is, you know, scoring goals. You know, some, you know, people criticize that, you know, we don't have our nights, you know, a really like a goal scoring striker, which I guess is true. But, you know, over the last 15 games, Havertz has like, I don't know, it's some crazy stat. But yeah, I get it. I get what they're saying. I think that's, you know, defense definitely isn't our issue. It's more of, you know, us from attacking wise, you know, getting goals, scoring against, especially, you know, teams like Aston Villa. But sometimes you're going to have to leave it late. Sometimes you're going to have to have those games if you want to win titles. Sometimes it's not going to be pretty. I expect a couple 1-0s here and there just because that's what, you know, that's what great teams do sometimes. You know, maybe they don't play the best, but at the end of the day, their quality shines through. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, we've pretty much, we're not going to buy another striker. So it's between Havertz and Jesus. And, you know, I mean, Trossard can also play there. But, at the end of the day, I think we'll be fine in terms of that. I think Saka's looked pretty lively and dangerous, you know, coming off, you know, a huge, like a really lengthy, you know, Euros tournament, getting all the way to the finals. Mm-hmm. So I think
he looks sharp, man. He looks
very sharp.
And a bit something different about Saka as well. You know, I know it's a thing of the Arsenal supposed to call him Starboy, but he doesn't really even seem like a Starboy. He just seems now certified. Like when he sits on the pitch, you know, Bukayo Saka. It's, you know, I think any manager in the Premier League is going to be telling your defense, stifle Bukayo Saka. And if you stifle Saka, you know, it's almost stifling Arsenal's attack. And, you know, like we're saying before, do you think that's going to be an issue? Or do you think having Havertz up front, you know, sure, he might not get the, you know, there's a debate whether he's going to get 20 plus goals this season or not. But do you think still having him and his ability to just being the intelligent footballer that he is and bringing and involving others into the play, do you think that will still give Arsenal the goals that they need going forward, or enough, I should say?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like again, like Havertz didn't have the best game, but his hold up play was decent. In terms of Saka, like that is, it's a good point because that could be an issue being brought up just because Martinelli has been pretty poor coming from that left wing. And, you want both of your wingers, you want both sides of the attack
Mhm.
to, cause issues for the, opposing defenders. And yeah, Martinelli for, I want to say last season, now the first two games hasn't been up to par with what we've seen from Martinelli before. Um, and am I worried? Not yet. It's just the first two games. I think he can pick it up. Um, but I think that's why Arteta's signings have been so crucial. We didn't even buy Trossard for that much, and he's come up in huge games, scoring against Chelsea, Liverpool, Bayern Munich.
Mm.
So I don't think that's going to be necessarily an issue. I did think that we should have bought like a backup for Saka just in case. Thing is,
Mhm.
fans like opposing side fans like make fun of him for limping all the time, but he really plays almost every single game. And I think we got extremely
No, he
lucky
does.
last season that both our center halves pretty much I think they played every single game, and Saka played almost every single game. So did Odegaard. We didn't really have many injury issues, so as long as we don't have injuries, I think we'll be just fine when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, and a couple things just to go over and talking about Martinelli. I mean myself, I've been telling about Martinelli and looking at what's happened to your guy Emil Smith Rowe. I think most of the Arsenal fans thought that he would still at least have another year, even though it's been quite underwhelming, not due to his own fault really. He's a quality footballer, of course he is. I think someone would be quite brain dead to say that he's not because he is. He's a very good footballer, but the problem was, the project itself outgrew Emil Smith Rowe and was why he was moved on and sold. And looking at Martinelli now, seeing what's happened to Smith Rowe, I think to myself, from a personal perspective, it could be your opinion or it's up to the Arsenal supporters. Smith Rowe is, as a footballer, is light years technically better than Martinelli is on a technical standpoint. And
Yeah.
if you're Martinelli and seeing Smith Rowe moved on, shouldn't that not be a little bit concerning? A bit.
Yeah, I think this is a really big season for Martinelli. Yeah, that's on the back of his mind that Arteta, he doesn't, if you're not playing well for multiple seasons, or Smith Rowe's case, it maybe wasn't not playing well, just having injuries and then you're coming back rusty. But if he's not playing well, Arteta is gonna find other players. But I'm not worried about it too much. I think he has amazing potential. I think some people forget, how good he was in previous seasons, especially the season 2 seasons ago when he almost broke the record for like the most. I think the Brazilian with the most Premier League goals, and then he got injured or something. So yeah, I think we'll be okay. I think we should start to worry when we get, let's just say, 10 more games throughout the season, 10, 15 more games that he's still not playing well. That's when you have to start worrying.
Yeah, and I mean, even when Smith Rowe was fit and available, Arteta still benched him anyways and preferred the likes of Martinelli on the left and wouldn't even play him there. So, you have to wonder. And another player on the left, Trossard, what did you make of that celebration? I'm intrigued to know because when he scored, he just looked like he, respectfully didn't give a single shit about anyone or anything. He just stood there. He looked irritated, annoyed. Just any particular thoughts on that, or did you not really make much?
So when I saw that, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, I think he's pissed because he's Martinelli starting over him. But and I texted my dad that, and he was like, oh, I just watched his post match interview, and they like talked about that or something. He said he's fine, like there's nothing. There's no issue. So I think that's okay. I think that's maybe just his personality. I know he does sometimes celebrate. But yeah, same thing. I was worried about that. I was like, oh, is there, is he, obviously the first thing you think about is like, he's not getting.
It's in Martinelli. It's for the left-hand side. And
yeah,
quite often we've seen Arteta tend to lean towards, Martinelli when we've seen that especially in the recent times, Trossard is a bigger goal threat in regards of his footballing quality. So it was definitely a bit interesting for me to see. And lastly, before we move into the player ratings, I have to ask, Mikel Moreno, thoughts on that? He is joining Arsenal. I think they've spent a year left, and they spent quite a lot, around 30 to 35 million pounds. But then again, I can't really talk
27 plus add-on. I don't know.
Oh, okay, fair.
But yeah, I mean, he's probably at the prime of his career now, 28. I think it's a good addition because if you see during the game, while Partey did get his goal, at the end, he started to, especially on the defensive end, you could tell that the lack of match fitness and maybe, I don't know, all those injuries were catching up to him a little bit. Running after players, like pulling them back. I think it's good to get fresh legs. Someone who maybe, I guess same build as Partey, you could say, on the taller side, good, decent passer. I think it's a good option to have just because, number one, Partey seemed like he was getting tired. And number two, he has been very injury prone the last couple of seasons. So I think it's a great addition by Arteta, 28, he's good for at least, I don't know, how long was the contract?
For Moreno, I think I don't know the contract details. I think it might have been a 3 or 4 year deal.
Yeah, and that's perfect because by the time, 4 years, he's probably going to be out of his prime. By the time it ends, so I think it's a perfect contract. I think it's a good, now we have him, we have Jorginho that can come off the bench, and Jorginho's extremely experienced, intelligent player. While he's not the fastest, he will be important for some games, and I think that's also why Arteta sold Emile Smith-Rowe, who his preferred position is attacking mid, and you already have Odegaard. You have so many other center mids. The Havertz can play. We forget Havertz can also play.
Playing up front though. I mean, unless Arteta somehow wants to do the Havertz again in midfield, which was, I think, probably the reason why Arsenal didn't win the league. If they had played them up front for the whole season,
he wasn't the best. I'd say. I don't think he was horrible, but yeah, that's definitely probably not his position. But yeah, I think overall it was a great game. It's a little disappointing to see Gabriel Jesus injured again. Some of these players, it's weird, constant injuries while others just have none. So yeah.
And yeah, especially with that, it has to make you ask or just wonder, why wasn't a striker even looked at, prioritized in any way, shape, or form? And when you look at the midfield with, Moreno is a good footballer, he is. But again, when you're looking at the standard Manchester City, you have Rodri. They just brought back Gundogan. So, and they, Kovacic, who very, very good footballer. I think people forget about that. Just because he wasn't playing, he dealt with, even though it is Chelsea and they're dreadful, he dealt with, a pretty difficult midfield very well. I'm playing as that deputy number 6. And I think when you look at the standard that Man City has set, do you think Mikel Moreno can, of course, it's going to be Rodri, but do you think he can help Arsenal get closer to that?
Yeah, I think he can. Obviously, Man City, they have an insane team. The depth there is crazy. One player gets injured and, they're still doing fine. I know when Roger got injured, they actually didn't do as well, but that's because he's such a key player. Yeah, and you're right. That the re-signing of Gundogan was extremely important. Barca letting him go it was free. I'm pretty sure, right? Which is
it was for free.
To me, insane. But yeah, I think that it's true. In terms of the midfield, they have the best defensive mid in the world, but I'm not counting us out either because I think we have the second best CDM in Declan Rice in the Premier League. I think Odegaard had an amazing season. It's always been him and Odegaard have been the two, consistent ones always starting, and then it kind of rotates. And I'm okay with that. I think next summer we should buy, extremely. I think we should spend a lot of money in finding another, whether that's an 8 probably. I think Marina's a good addition.
You still need a 6 though. Because when we've seen Declan Rice, when he was playing in that fixed role by himself, he struggled, especially in the Euros. But when he was playing with the likes of Partey, Jorginho, he can go forward, which
Yeah,
he's
'cause
better at
they
driving forward with the
interchange,
ball.
and that's all about what Arteta's about. Giving him the license to go. Yeah, it really makes you miss that Granit Xhaka type of player who finally found his true
Found his
potential to
groove.
play. And also, yeah, I think part of Xhaka's issue also was that managers were playing him at the six rather than
He's not a
get a
six.
no, he's not. So yeah, it does make me miss him. I think that that's one of Arteta's decisions that I didn't get, but I think it's also because Xhaka wanted to leave himself. So at the end of the day, you can't force him to stay.
No, and I think it was time for him to move on as well. He'd been there long enough. But I mean, for me, in my opinion, I think the player doesn't have to be a big name to allow you. But I think if Arsenal had gone out and Menu was never going to leave, but if they signed someone of that ilk, I would have been like, okay, wow, all right, yeah, they mean business. Or if they went out and signed someone like Oshiman to play up front, or even a Tony. Or you look at the right hand side, Elise available for 45 million to compete with Saka. I would have been like, okay, yeah, they need business, and I think they need to strengthen in depth. But however, getting to the next and last part of our show today, of course, player ratings. How could we ever forget? Starting off in goal with David Raya, which honestly, when I'm thinking about David Raya, I'm thinking he really doesn't do much because when you look at that defense in front of him, that save. First, the deflected shot off the bar, and then the follow-up from Ollie Watkins. I think you could very well already have a contender for save of the season already,
Yeah.
and that was unreal. But apart from that, our ratings for David Raya, as if for somebody for those who don't know, we do our player ratings from 0 to 10. We try to stay away from 0.5, so if you really have to, then so be it. But now starting off, David Raya in goal.
Yeah, he's been super impressive the last two games. He had a huge save the first
for
game.
today, though. His performance for today.
For today, I'd have to give him a 9. I think maybe when I say 10 for goalies, it's like a save penalty and then multiple saves. Can't be perfect, but I think a 9. I think he was great. Huge save. And yeah, he's I'm really getting behind Arteta's Raya pick. I was a little questioning it last season, but he's can't complain. He's been perfect.
I wonder what's going to happen with Ramsdale if he's going to eventually go. I know there were some rumors that Arsenal, had agreed terms with, I think some goalkeeper from Espanyol. So they're just waiting on Ramsdale to leave. I wonder if they end up getting him off the books. I'll be one to watch for the remainder of the window.
I mean, honestly, I hope we do. Just not because I don't rate Ramsdale, just because I think he deserves a team that's going to play him, and he deserves to be a first-team goalie at some other, whether that's a Premier League side or somewhere else.
100%. Getting into the back four, starting with Ben White, of course, as usual at right back. Thoughts on his performance today?
Yeah, thought it was a decent performance. Not too much. I think he was okay. Didn't really have much to do on his side, at least. But I would give it 6. But just because he kicked that ball at that lad who kicked the ball at Saliba, I'm going to give him a 7. +1 for that because I really think
Ben. It's just typical Ben White at this point. It's typical Ben White. He's always doing something of some kind.
Very interesting.
That was something funny to see. Moving into the center-back partnership, which when I saw them today in particular, I thought to myself, okay, yeah, you know what, they mean business. Starting with William Saliba, with that pairing.
Yeah, I think he was the better out of the two today. I think I'd give him. Yeah, I know you said no 0.5s, but I'd say 8.5. Just because,
no, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, he was great. Great last ditch tackle as well. I forgot who it was on, but yeah, they did have some chances. There was some slip ups, but that was mostly by Gabriel.
I think it was Jacob Ramsey. Yeah, Jacob Ramsey.
Yeah, a great challenge. And I mean, he's already so good at such a young age. It's going to be insane to see what his peak is going to be. Hopefully he just continues on the same path, and I think he will under Arteta.
No, yeah, and there's absolutely, there's, no question, whatsoever when you look at, Saliba, there's, even when he signed, there's a very, very good footballer there. Not only a very good footballer, but a very good defender. He is a mix of both. Yeah, and he's, someone that I also want to keep a hold of for probably for years and years and years to come. He's a very good player.
For
And
sure.
even from a neutral perspective, I look forward to seeing, how much better he can, get from where he is now, nor near his prime. So, and as you said, to think about what he can be in his prime is frightening. But getting into his partner, Gabriel.
Yeah, I thought it was, he had one or two shaky moments, losing the ball, and I don't know how Watkins didn't score that. That was
I
ridiculous.
was beyond shocked how.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually, I think he's an Arsenal fan.
You,
Uh,
oh
so
wait,
maybe,
oh yeah, you're right. He
yeah, so
is.
maybe there's
He's an
something
Arsenal
there. But no, yeah, scored against us last time. But no, yeah, I think I think he's still underrated, to be honest. I think the last two seasons he's been great. But yeah, I did have a couple slip ups. I'd say six just for today.
No, and that's fair. But both Gabriel and Saliba, they're gonna have bad games, of course. But it's a
Yeah,
partnership. They're the best in the league, in my opinion. Others may think differently, but but just as an interesting scenario to give you, let's say you had to raise money in the only way the Arsenal could to afford other areas that they needed to address on the pitch was that they had to get rid of one of Gabriel or Saliba. Who are you keeping if you had to sell one of them?
I'd probably sell Gabriel just because of the age difference. And Saliba has a higher ceiling. Um, yeah, I'd probably sell Gabriel, but yeah, I'd say Gabriel.
Yeah, and I think one thing when I look at the two of them, they complement each other. So I think I think Gabriel is a better defender than Saliba, but Saliba is a better footballer than him. But they complement each other regardless so well. They can do both, but I think Saliba is better on the ball personally, and Gabriel's better on the defending side of things. But continuing on defenders, left back Jurgen Timber back into the team today. What's felt like a millennia since I've last seen this guy playing the Premier League. Uh, Thoughts on his performance today?
Yeah, I mean it's been a while. Didn't get the start last game. Came off the bench, started this game. I think it was just getting the rust off. Don't think it was a bad performance at all. Decent. I'd say
Mhm.
six. Um,
Yeah, and
attacking
yeah,
end.
go for it.
Yeah, that he'll only get better.
No, yeah, I agree. And I mean, just there were definitely moments where it looked like that he really, really struggled. For example, like looking at you know, what Morgan Rogers was giving him problems and Bailey, and I just want to say big shots have to be given to Morgan Rogers as well. He balled out. He was fantastic today,
Mhm.
and I have to say, Bailey as well. He can shout outs to him, but yeah, I think other than that, he looks fairly comfortable, fairly good, and looking at that, I have to give him a yeah. I agree. Moving into the midfield, we'll start with Thomas Partey in there.
Mhm. Yeah, it's difficult. I feel like it was full of mostly ups, some downs. Once or a couple times being caught out, just probably trying to get his legs back. Didn't play that much last season, which is fine. Good goal. He's always taking those long shots and usually goes over.
Always.
But he got on target, and I think he needs to start getting on target more. I'd say like just because he scored, I'll give him a 7. Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that Thomas Partey even just scored at all, he's still trying the long shots, most go over. But I mean, hey, he put one in the back of the net. That's what matters. Alongside him, Declan Rice.
Yeah, I think it was, Declan has so many amazing games, but I think kind of struggled to get into this game a little bit. Not saying it, I think he still had a solid performance. He makes his presence known. I'd say 6 probably.
Uh, in front of them or alongside them, if you want to say 4-3-3, 4-2-3, regardless. Martin Odegaard.
Yeah, I'd have to give a 5. I think he was all right today.
How he missed that
Yeah,
one chance to make it 3-0
really
is
bad miss.
beyond me.
Yeah, that was a really, really bad miss. You'd expect him to put those away. He always does. Um, yeah, first two games, not the Odegaard that we saw
Mhm.
last season, but that's okay. He's getting into things, probably shaking off the rust. He didn't play in the Euros, but I guess he's also more fresh. But yeah, he'll be fine. Just an all right performance.
Yeah, that's fair. There was, nowhere near the Odegaard that we know, and we know that there is so much. We've seen a lot better than that, and that there is a lot better than that. But times you're not going to get the best performance, but you use Porte in my opinion.
Yeah,
Um, moving into the attack, starting off with Gabriel Martinelli on the left hand side.
yeah, I'd have to give him 4. Just kind of struggling to get into things right now. We already talked about him, but yeah, I'd give him a 4.
On the right hand side, Bukayo Saka. He looked
Yeah,
like he was just bossing it.
give him an 8, just because I guess he didn't score, but
Hmm.
he didn't get the assist for the first one, but he's that was his cross, lucky bounce, Trossard brilliant finish, and getting the assists for Partey. And I think like Saka, it's like a stat or something. He sets up most of Trossard's goals, which is pretty funny.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, another great game. Hopefully he keeps it going. I don't want him to burn out too much. I hope in the cups, we don't play him.
No, and for me, if there's one thing that I've really noticed about Bukayo Saka in regards to this, the growth I've seen between last year and this year, for me, for what I've seen now, I think everyone knows by now. Yourself, Jose, and Andre know. Everyone knows that when I judge footballers, it's more than GNA. It's not
Mhm.
straightforward for me.
Yeah.
But when I look at Saka now, and I really notice, the fundamentals and how he affects games, and how he affects, the overall spacing, being created for his other teams to get in behind, and to have chances on goals. He takes players away from the play, brings other people into the fold of things as a winger, and that's something that you have to look at, and definitely makes someone really take note of that, and huge props have to be given to him, especially from his Euros performances. And now, he means business. So, massive praise to Saka there. And up front, Kai Havertz as the pivot and main striker.
Yeah, I'd say like 5 or 6, maybe. Uh, I don't know. You can decide if it's 5 or 6 for that one.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, I perfectly agree. Just not, there wasn't really much to go off of. His hold up play was all right. I'd say fairly average. I would agree with you.
Yeah, pretty
Um,
average, to be honest. Had some, good passes, good touches, just kind of wasteful today.
Substitutions off the bench, starting off with Leandro Trossard, got the goal.
Yeah, I just gotta give him an A. He scored. I think he's our most clinical player. So many goals that he scored like that. Just bottom right, bottom left hand corner, amazing finishes, and he's the player that shows up in the big moments all of the time.
No, definitely. And you have said this probably more than anyone else about Trossard in regards to showing up in those big moments, time and time again, against Manchester United, against us last year at Old Trafford, against Chelsea. Who else? Who else? I think he scored against Liverpool last season, but I
Yeah,
could
it's
be
very
wrong.
beautiful too.
He's definitely turns up, when he's been given the chance to play in those big moments. Reece Nelson, off the bench.
Yeah, he was like, I don't even know if I can rate him. He was,
Yeah, if there's not enough, just standard 5, I guess.
yeah,
If
that's
there's not
5.
enough. Calafiori, Premier
Yeah,
League debut for him.
he played what, 15 minutes. I didn't know he was that fast, by the way.
Yeah,
Um,
he's rapid.
I'll just say the same thing because he only had 15 minutes. But yeah, he looked solid. I hope he gets more time. It's like kind of like how's he gonna get more time? I think what Arteta might do is like switch him and Timber out just because um like the injuries from the big
Mhm.
injury he had last season. So I think California might start next game. So we'll see.
And any additional points to Calafiori for when he tried to hold back Emi Martinez for the quick restart?
Yeah,
If
no,
you
that's
remember.
well. Thing about Emmy is like everyone doesn't like him, but like low-key, I like him just because he got Messi a World Cup. So but still, it was cheeky.
And he's a bastard as well. Like in football, you need those personalities. You need those personalities.
I
Or
think
else you're not going to go anywhere. Like, and I think that's something that all need, and they don't have. They
yeah,
don't have a bastard. They don't have that mentality.
yeah, that's
Just looking at the squad, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's. I mean, I don't know that second goal. Like I haven't seen that from him in a while, but everyone makes mistakes.
Of course.
And yeah, I think he's. I still regret us selling him. To be honest, he'd go right into that team.
And last but not least, the manager for today, Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, I have to give him an 8. Good substitution. Putting in Trossard. Really, not much to it.
And there you have it. Aston Villa 0, Arsenal 2. We shall see if they can carry on this run of form consistently, or if not. But we will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching our upload, and let us know down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on anything and everything addressed in this feature of Premier League Prime Time? Smash a like on the video, and make sure you subscribe to our channel. And be sure to check out our other platforms on Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And we hope you have an absolutely fantastic day/evening. Take care.